Okay, we should be live now, guys. So we should be cranking again, and actually have some music for a change. So I think I've got everything sorted out here. I was going to have a second camera, a third camera, but I think this will be okay, just having the two. If this camera here beside me isn't showing things very well, let me know and I'll switch cameras up so we have a better fidelity. AV okay? Sweet. Thanks, Michael. So just let me know what it's like. I can already see that this camera looks crisper on the red behind me, but yeah, we're just gonna have at it. We're just gonna have at it. I had some water. Haven't had a little snacky snack yet, but I really want to get into this why it's in the state that it is, which is a nice and warm. So we're going to take a little rolly chair here, roll up beside the aircraft, and there's a few things we've got to do first. One, safety never takes a holiday, so what we're going to do is, I've already checked it, I checked it before the cam, but just to be a good streamer and demonstrate, not just say it, is before we go anywhere near the propeller, which is just behind me, notice I am actually outside the prop arc, so if the prop did start spinning, I'm not going to get hit by it. But propellers, they're no joke. Treat them like a loaded gun, and you won't have any problems. And it's very easy when you're around aircraft to get blasé about them. The second you get blasé, that's the time that you're going to have a problem. Leaning on props, things like that, it's not going to be good. Especially if there's any fuel left in, and we've just run it. So there could be a little bit of fuel left in the cylinders, all sorts of stuff like that. So we're going to take our time around the propeller until I can say I've secured the engine, which will be having all of the spark plugs removed, or at least the top spark plugs and all of the associated leads removed. And then we can call that like we've cleaned the gun or whatever. It's until then we have to treat the prop as if it's live. So you'll see me walking around the prop and treating it as if it's a live arc there. So I'll go and check the battery and make sure that the ignition switches are off. And after I've done that, I'm going to put the headset back on and start screwing. Start derobing the thing. So let's do it. I'll be right back. Alright, so fuel is off, master's off, and mags are off. So let's get into this guy while we still have a chance. So first thing I've got to do with this thing is actually drop off these wheel fairing pants, I guess, just fairing pants, whatever you want to call them. I might actually use the drill for this just to expedite it. Oh, whatever, I've almost got them out already. We should have 1, 2, 3 on the underside. Yeah, I'm going to grab the drill. It's going to make things a little bit quicker for us here. Yeah, I'll be right back. Take my hand, and we'll go away to a different place. Float on air, and we'll hide away. I'll be your escape. Look up and feel the shifting winds tossing us around again. Hold tight, you're ready to begin, and just levitate. Alright, so down we go. We're gonna get under the thing again. Try and stay so my head isn't directly in the prop arc here for too long. And let's crawl our way. Crawl our way under the aircraft here. Once. Jesus Christ. Really? Oh, I get it. There's the first panel off. Just let us slide down. Be careful for these antennas here. You can see they're, I don't know if you can, I'm literally directly in the way. There's a couple of comm antennas that are directly in line with the main wheels down here. And just got to be careful not to smack them with your head. I'll bend or break the... Actually break the little ceramic part on the other side of them there. Let's not get hit by this propeller. You notice I duck everywhere I go. I've walked into enough propellers to learn to keep my head down whenever the hell I'm walking around aircraft. Alright, there's two pants off, and let's get this cowl off. Wind this bad boy back up. Bring it in so you can see it. Now, the way we take the cowl off these aircraft is a lot like a 172. For anyone that's ever done anything on a 172, sorry about the camera moving here. You always start at the front, work your way to the back. That's what we're going to do here. And it's quite simple. These are all quick release screws along the side, so I don't need to actually fully undo all these screws. I only need to do a almost a quarter turn, a little bit beyond a quarter turn, and they pop out. There are two fixed screws just here in the front of the nose, and they just come out quite simply. Other than that, they're all quick release, and the bottom cowl comes off even quicker. It actually only has pins holding it in place. Just the top cowl takes a little bit of persuading to get off. I'll come back, we'll take the gloves off. So unfortunately the start of this, like yesterday, is it's pretty much just taking everything off. It's maybe not the most interesting thing in the world, just pulling things off. But once we start doing the inspections and we can start seeing a little bit more of the guts of the plane, hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Just being not very happy. Alright. There's two. Alright, I'll start on this side, and then we'll pop the thing off. So again, just like a Cessna cowl, you start at the front, move your way to the back. Just nice little quarter turns here. I'll bring the camera in on the other side so you can see just what they're like. They're just little spring-loaded half-turn screws. Really nothing to them. But if you torque on them too much, you will just break them. You break the little mounts that they go into as well. Just a little bit of a prop up. Yeah, I'll bring the camera in here so you can see them. That doesn't look too bad with the camera, I guess. Yeah, so you just see here when I get all these fucking cords out of the way. they're just little half-turn screws here, so as they pop out, I'll bring the camera in. You can just see the a little bit of a spring there. You can just see here is just a little bit of a spring, and all that spring does is hold tension on the actual screw, so it keeps these two pieces together. That's all these screws are doing. They're not going into any material or anything like that. There's no longeron or anything coming from further back in the aircraft. It's literally just tying this top piece to the bottom piece. That's it. That's all these are doing. And they just use that spring tension. That spring tension there to just hold the two pieces together. It's they're really, really quite simple. Very, very easy to deal with as well. So, ingenious little piece of aeroplaning, and it makes things a hell of a lot easier when you're working on the thing, because you don't have to undo all of these screws. This huge pile of screws here, I can just run through them with just a nice, quick little quarter turn. Tricky thing with these cows, or just about all cows, is dealing with them when you're on your own, because because these two pieces are together, I need to be able to pull this top one away just a little bit. So that's what I'm going to plan to do here. So I just want to make sure all of these screws are pulled out. I'm sorry I'm standing in the way of the camera, but it's just what I've got to do. There we go. Perfect. So she's just about ready to come off. I'm going to take it off from the other side, just so I can reach my hand into, I'm sitting in front of it, reach my hand into the oil filler hole there, and bring it over towards me. Easy. Take it away from the aircraft, and watch your ears, guys. I'm just going to have to disconnect my umbilical cord. Okay, oops, sorry. Let me know if the camera's okay, guys. I've just got to jam my hand in here and try and get my hand in near that hot fucking exhaust. This is when you typically burn yourself and start swearing. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright, perfect. Right, that's one. The other one is, I'll go ahead and show you. Alright, I got the camera. So, where I'm trying to get down is, how am I standing on screws and shit? Right down here, it's really hard to see, but there's an exhaust. Let's see if the camera can handle it. We'll just jam it down there. In fact, I've got a flashlight here. Fantastic. So, Well, we can see that little pin there. So there's the exhaust. That's the heater shroud. We're going to get into all this a little bit later. So there's the exhaust. So that little pin there, just to the left of the exhaust, that's what I'm trying to get at. So it's ingeniously placed next to the hottest part of the aircraft. So it's just something to be aware of, so you don't reach in there, grab that pin, wrap your hand around the exhaust, and then start screaming. It's the same on the other side as well. This aircraft has two exhausts, one on this side and one on the other side for each cylinder bank. So that's what I'm reaching in, trying to grab without burning the fuck out of myself. That's that little pin. That's actually all it's holding. Well, there's another one. It's all it's holding the cowl in place. That little pin that actually slides. It slides out. And once it slides out, you're pretty much good to go. Start pulling these top pins as well. I'm just going to climb down and I'll pull the rest of these pins underneath and go from there. Oh, it's so fucking stupid. Fucked. This is actually my least favorite part of the aeroplane is these pins. They're in a really, really fucking stupid position. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some pliers to get in here. I'll be right back. Let's try and get these pins on. There's got some on those pliers in here. Burn the fuck out of myself. Got it. Almost hit it. Oh, get wrecked, airplane. Yeah, this is probably the only least... This is the least thought out part of the entire aircraft. Everything else is actually really quite smart and well thought out, but these pins are not. There's not many perfect aircraft out there in the world. Two pins down, 2 to go. when we drop the cow. I'm gonna have to be super duper tricky and try and catch this with my feet. If I'm gonna have to pull these wheel hand things off. I don't think so. This is all the pins are. They're just like giant piano hinges, and they just hold the cowl up. So now I've got to try and drop it, pull this last pin. Hangar's heating up. It's 3 degrees. Going nuts. Ow. Okay, I tell a lie. It's the whole pin system that I don't like about this aeroplane. It's fucking stupid. It's simple. It's in its simplicity. It's more difficult to deal with than regular screws. Let's see what we can do with this and see if we don't break anything. I'm gonna have to try and catch it with my leg. This weird sort of... There we go. Come on, baby. Let's fuck around with it. These again, bottom cowl. These are removed. You got someone else here to help you out. Ooh, ooh. I think we might have it. We stuck on over there. Oh, I see. Come on, you're really close. Scrape the fuck out of it. There we go. Alright, move the prop, stay out of the arc. There we go. Easy. There we go, 1 derobed aeroplane. Just hang on a second, guys. Just before I take this away, I'll show you what I mean with the cowl, why I don't like it. It's, most aircraft don't do this, but vans do. If you have a look, it's like got piano hinges, and it's across the bottom and across the top. The problem with it is, there's so much pressure on this cowl, right? I mean, it doesn't fit perfectly. So if the cowl doesn't fit perfectly, there's all sorts of pressures on each of these little lugs, right? Like these lugs here, they're like castellated, and they interlock with the other ones on the aircraft. And so there's a lot of pressure on the pin. It'd be okay having a pin, I think, here in the vertical line, but in the bottom line down here, it's just, one, the exhaust is there and all that other stuff. The other thing to do whenever you pull a cowl off an aircraft, so this is the entire bottom half of the cowl, you shove your head in there and look for oil. This is a really good indication, a good starting place to look if you're expecting any oil leaks. And you'll see here on this actual left-hand side, over here, there's a little patch of something going on there. So on the left-hand side of the engine, well, I'm going to have a good look around there and look for any oil patches. There's actually some on this right-hand side as well. Just a little bit of orange oil there. So you've got to be a little bit of a detective. A little bit of a detective when you're working on these things to use all the information that you have at your disposal to come up with what could be a problem, what isn't a problem, or where to even start looking for a problem. So that's my idea anyway. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start dropping this oil. This aircraft actually has a quick release oil drop, so I'll just go ahead, disconnect the mic, I'll bring the bucket in, and then I'll bring the camera in and show you what we're doing. Sorry about that, I was hunting around for some tools because we're missing some stuff. So, let's get the bucket in here. And let's even bring the camera on over. This is very cumbersome. No fault, of course. I don't want to lose anyway. Wind the old tripod down here, and let's put the camera there, drop the oil. I'm missing some tools, which is going to be a problem later, but we should be able to get a fair bit done. Alright, so what are we looking at here? Now you'll see this little blue thing right here. This is just a quick dump of the oil. So it's really, really simple. Instead of getting oil all over yourself here, you can actually just go ahead, push this guy up and turn it, and then oil is just going to start spewing out of it. So I'm going to come at it from the side so I don't get covered in oil. Out she comes. Now while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and deal with the fucking cables and shit everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and deal with the oil filter, as we're going to be cutting that open here pretty soon. Move that over there. You're probably just going to have to take my word for, I'm going to have to mute it. Oh. No, it should be okay. No, I'm going to go get my side cutters. I'll be right back. Alright, so this is where we get covered in fucking shit. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my super duper gloves. I'm going to cut off the oil filter. And then we'll do an inspection in just a little while. We'll let it drain out when we go ahead and have a good look over the engine. Is that camera still working? Yeah, it looks like they're all still working. Perfect. Alright, so the oil filter, that great big white thing that you're looking at right here, and it's lock wired on. You can see everything on an aircraft is safetied. So this wire that we've got there makes sure that the filter stays on tight and doesn't come off even if it tries loosening itself. Racing cars use this, all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to be smart. I'm going to cut it off down the bottom end because I actually need to hang this filter in the bucket and let it drain. The other thing you'll notice is the filter is indeed pointing down. and this is why we get covered in fucking shit. It just spews oil all down the backside of the engine there. So we just got to be prepared for that. So I've moved the bucket aft a little bit. There's no way around it. It's just going to get messy. So that's what we got to do. We just got to chop this thing up in here. And after we've chopped it, make sure we're chopping the right thing, of course. After we've chopped it, we'll go ahead and pop it off. Now these typically aren't... I installed this, so it shouldn't be too tight. My problem here right now is the tool that I need. I need a 1-inch spanner, 1-inch wrench, for Americanizing, that's how you pronounce it, and don't have one. All missing, so I need to run next door into the hangar over there, but just close your eyes. I'm going to cheat, be a bad engineer, and not use the right tool, but this is not really that big of a deal because this oil filter is going to get completely destroyed. That's if I can fucking get the thing off, of course. And if I can't get it off, we have a problem. I don't think this is going to work. Nope, there's not enough torque on it. Nope, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. That's a shame. I'm going to have a look around the hangar here for a second and see what I got. So the oil's still draining. I will be right back. I'm sorry guys, I just have to do it. Oh, easy win. I have to talk to that guy that put this on. Puts filters on a little too tight. That guy's me. Now we got to try and catch as much of this fucking oil as we can without spewing all over the hangar floor. It actually looks like to me oil is out. Let's see if we can catch it. Save the spill. Huge fucking mess. Let's see what we can do. It's pissing out all over the fucking place down here, but whatever. So I just use that wire. I can't really show you right now because there's just oil and crap going everywhere. But I just leave that, I need another bucket. Lucky I went to Canadian Tire. Be right back. Alright, should be unmuted. Yeah, looks like it. Alright, so let's have a little look up top here. While we've still got the camera there looking down, I brought over my little flashlight here so you'll be able to have a look in with a bit of luck. So I'll go ahead and disconnect the camera here. Find the classic button. So if we look down in here, this is where the oil filter just screws into. You can see there's no gasket or anything on it. It actually comes with the filter, and it's just a spin-on type, just like what you'd see in your car. And that's where the oil just pissed down the back here. There's nothing you can do about it. There's just so much crap in the way back here that you just have to deal with it and just clean it up later. So this is where the oil filter was, just this little guy right here. I'm just touching now. And, well, I'm going to put a filter on it pretty soon here, but what I like to do is just run the prop around a few times. But before I do that, I'm going to pull all of the spark plug leads off, and we can do that quite simply. So I'm going to change the angle here of the camera and point it back down towards the engine, and so you guys can see everything we're doing up top here, trying to disconnect the oil all over my hands, and now putting it all over the camera. Standard operating procedure. Getting all my shit dirty for you guys. Yeah, running out of cord. Alright, I'm just going to have to deal with this camera here for a second. I'm going to bring the desk a bit closer.
Let this be another night to tie around my bed at night. I know I've lost the fight to erase your face, my mind. Awake, I lie here staring up beyond the sky.
Alright. Looking okay. Engine's a little bit sort of off kilter there, but that's okay. Alright, let's grab our torch and have a little look over the engine here, why we got it out and it's fresh and we can see things after it's just been running. It's important to do that. We'll shove our head around the top here, have a good look around, and I'm going to go ahead and pull all these ignition leads here. So the engine has spark plugs on top here as well as on the underside. I'm just going to secure the engine by just pulling these top ones. These top plugs, because it's part of the electronic ignition, there's really nothing to them. They're they're actually just car spark plug leads for this aircraft. A regular aircraft would have screw-on type with a great big 3/4 wrench you need to pull them off. But the top ones, because they're part of the electronic ignition, I'll go ahead and just pull those off. We'll deal with these bottom ones here in a second. But just want to have a little look over the top of the engine. See if we have anything immediately apparent. Looks like this number 3 fuel line is just venting just a little bit. Yeah. Go ahead and I'll show you what the fuel injectors are in a little while. I just hope you guys understand I do actually have to do some work here, so I am actually having to concentrate and look at some things. So if I do go quiet, it's because I'm thinking and looking, so you have to excuse me. After I've had this quick little look around, I'll come back over to the stream and see if you guys have got any questions or anything like that, and we'll go from there. So I'm just looking for anything obvious that just stands out as this shouldn't be here, or something that just doesn't look right. That's just all I'm doing here is an initial look around. Just seeing if there's anything that just stands right out to me that that shouldn't be there. Yeah, there's a tiny little leak here out of this number 1 cylinder head gasket. We'll look at that a little later. Nothing too crazy here. How do we put this engine together? By little problem, I think. Big one. Oh, it's just starting to wear in a little bit now, and some of the gaskets are just starting to leak a little bit, and a few things like that. I don't really see anything that's standing out right in front of me here that's wrong. few minor leaks that the leaks that are there, we can either choose to keep them and just accept that there's going to be a leak there, but I know the owner fairly well, and he's not the kind of guy. Yeah. Fuck, this sump's going to have to come off. Don't worry, I'll go over everything that I've just seen here. It seems to be a recurring problem with this engine. There seems to be a recurring problem with this engine that the gaskets that are on it are starting to leak. So last year I chased a problem for a good couple of weeks, trying to chase an engine gremlin, and my first theory was actually correct, where I thought it was a leaky intake gasket, but I tore the thing apart while I was waiting for the gasket to show up, and couldn't find the problem. Couldn't actually even find a problem when I started pulling the intake tubes, but then new gaskets, put them on, and away they went. But honestly, it looks like this bottom sump. It's not a major leak. It's not a major leak. It's if this was like an in-service aircraft for if this was an in-service aircraft for, say, a flying school or something like that, it'd be entirely acceptable. And I mean, it's just an oil leak. It's nothing. It's nothing too stupid. But why have an oil leak when you could not have an oil leak? And the gaskets that are on them are just paper gaskets. But we'll have a good look over the engine here in a second, and I'll show you the things that I just saw there. We're going to have to cut open this oil filter as well, so I'll show you that in the meantime. But just hang on a second, I'm going to clear my nose. It's a little cold. Can I turn the music down or off? I can turn it down. Is that okay? Do you want it completely off? It's just I don't know if completely off is going to be the best, because there's going to be periods of where I'm just not talking. Now, I've gone ahead and just turned it down now, so I'm sorry if I was trying to talk over the music there, guys. Do you guys just want it off? I'll come into chat now. If you just want the music fucking done, cut it out. Just tell me and I'll kill it. I can turn it all the way off, I really don't mind. Down is fine, even a little bit more. Just a little bit more, alright. There we go. Alright, there we go, so it's really, really quiet in the background now, yeah? That should be okay. It's good now? Oh, thanks, Vatsimfly. Good. All right. Sorry, guys. I hope you can still hear me talking. So yeah, what have I got here? I am sitting in the prop arc, but the aircraft is safe. So there looks like there's a few small little leaks there, and it's just weird that it's more. Not weird. It makes sense. It's just more gaskets, and it just looks like either cheap gaskets are put on, or when the engine was assembled it was done incorrectly. But I can see leaks around all of the cylinders where they've all attached. I can into the crankcase, and I can see leaks on the sump. So nope, this is aircraft engine, so it's a custom-built aircraft engine. It's what you're seeing. The same engine as what you'd find in a Cessna 172. The only difference being is it's got a variable pitch prop, and it's an IO, so it's actually injected. What make? This is Van's aircraft, A2A pilot, Van's aircraft, and it's injected. Yeah, so it's an injected. It's an IO 320 made by Matatuck, which was eventually bought out by Continental Engines. So it's essentially a Titan engine. So maybe you might understand why we partnered with Titan, is because I have access to one of their engines. So this is a Titan engine, IO320, and well, technically it's an X320 now. But yeah, does it have an inverted oil system? No. So this does not have an inverted oil system. It doesn't have an inverted fuel system. So it can only handle limited negative G. You can pull negative G in the aircraft, but uh, negative G is not fun. No one wants to do it. So yeah, so it's an IO320. I'll go over the actual aircraft, the engine, and not point at things and tell you what things are, and then we'll cut open the oil filter and go from there. Yeah, I haven't got the t-shirts yet to Ryan, but that was old oil. That was old oil, McTrying. I don't flush. Flushing the oil, it's some people do it where they'll waste a whole sump full of oil, but yeah, this was old oil, so it's probably less than 50 hours old. And I'll show you the color of the oil. It's quite dark, but yeah, it'll be fine. How similar is this engine to the Cub? Angry Beaver. The exact same engine. So develop within your need, within your means, right? And I got an engine behind me that's the exact same engine that's in the Cub. So the only thing that's different is in the Cub we're going to be running a fixed pitch prop, not a variable pitch, but exact same engine, exact same engine. Yeah, it was fresh. It was fresh from today, McTrying. So this aircraft it hasn't been run or flown in I think probably 3 months. So anything in the bottom of the cowl is fresh, and it was you could feel it. It was wet. So if the oil wasn't wet, then okay, yeah, it's old oil. But no, all of the oil that was in there was all fresh oil, just from the runs today. So um, why the pitch prop? It's better for. So why would you put a variable pitch prop on this aircraft? Well, it gives you probably about 5 to 10 knots in the cruise, and the engine just operates. It's a happier engine, so acceleration is better, climbing is better, and yeah, it is easier to operate the aircraft in aerobatics with a variable pitch prop. It's quieter. It's less. There's a whole heap of reasons why you'd put a variable pitch prop on this aircraft, and most of them all add up to being it just is a better aircraft. I mean, this thing here cruises at just under 160 knots, not mile an hour, 160 knots. It's um, quite crazy. If this is an injected engine, how is mixture controlled? Yeah, so I'll actually talk about the injection. See, a lot of people make the assumption that if it's injected, it's like a car. And a car, the fuel injection system works with a solenoid, right? A little electric charge opens up a valve, fuel pours in, electric charge turns off, valve closes. Solenoid, right? This doesn't have that. The injections are literally, the best way of describing it is tiny little carburetors on each cylinder. And we'll go ahead, we'll be cleaning the injectors and pulling them apart, and they're incredibly simple. Incredibly, there's 3 parts to them. That's it. That's all the injector has. No electronics, no nothing. That's it. If leaks were because of today's temps rather than a real problem, no, McTrying. I've been, like I was saying, I've been chasing a leak. Well, I hadn't said it, but I've been chasing a leak on this engine for quite a while, and this cylinder back here is it's had leaks from the cylinder flange against the crankcase there. It's been seeping out from in there, which is bad. Like, we don't want to see that there. And so I've been chasing that leak for a while, and where the leaks are, they're not where I would expect them to be temperature related. Like, temperature related, you'd expect to see them where there's rubber seals and stuff like that, but what I can see there is all of the paper gaskets where the sump, so you've got a paper gasket sump where they're sandwiched up against the crankcase, the paper gasket's completely wet. So it's just completely wet. You know, I didn't do one run. I did a couple of runs today, McTrying. So I heated the aircraft up before I recorded it with you guys and did it live. So it was well and truly heat soaked. It was well and truly heat soaked. So I ran it for probably I don't know, maybe 20 minutes before I started it up with you guys. So yeah, so they're proper leaks. They're proper leaks, unfortunately. But they're just paper gaskets. It's just time. That's all it takes. Is if it's this is the thing. If it's a paper gasket that needs replacing, it's a $10 gasket, and then it's just time. That's all it is. So if throwing a $10 gasket at it is all it's going to take, that's fine. My concern is with the cylinder. When it's the cylinder on the other side is actually leaking as well. Yeah, and remember you guys, I was telling you about the UV light. I'll go over the engine with the UV light here in a second and show you where all these leaks are. And the UV light picks it up like, you'll see what I mean. There's leaks there that you can see have been there for a long time because they've now dried. Well, not necessarily dried, but you can still see where the fresh oil is and where the old oil was with the UV light. So I'll give you a walk around the engine with the camera, point at all of the things about the engine, and we'll go over them, and then we'll go over these leaks that I can see, and I'll talk to the owner about it, of course, and say, hey, it's his choice, but knowing him, he'll probably just say pull the trigger and make it be not leaky, please. So let's do that. Let's look at the engine and point out the bits and pieces about this engine and go from there. Let me go ahead and roll myself back. Actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to grab myself a 3/4 wrench and a 5/16 wrench here, and we'll take off these bottom spark plug leads and leave them hanging there for a bit. All right, I'll be right back. I think I said 5/16, so I think I mean 3/8. I'm just going to drop these off first now. Then we'll pull the plugs later. No spark, no bang. Secure the engine. We'll be good to wander around and point at things to our heart's content. All right, let's show you around. Let's show you around one of these things. So I've got my UV light here, and we'll start on this side where you can see me, and then we'll move over onto the other side, deal with it over there. And grab this tripod here. All right, so why don't we go ahead and we'll start up top here and go from there. So over the top of the engine here is, there's no real head of the engine. Well, there is a head of the engine. These are technically the heads here. But what we're looking at on top of the engine is, of course, air-cooled. There is no radiator or anything like that. This gold box that you see here is the injection system. So we have actually a fuel line in, which is where this blue fitting is here. That's our fuel that's coming from our mixture control. And then this here is what's called the fuel spider, and it just named because fuel and it looks like a spider. And this is the basis of the injection system, where fuel comes to here at a regulated pressure, and once it comes to here at a regulated pressure, it then goes out to the individual cylinders through these lines here. You can see these metal lines there all across the top. You can see we've got a line over here. I'm just going to have to change my view here so I can see what the hell you guys can see. So actually, it's better without the torch. So here's the other fuel line going over to that side, and each cylinder has 2 spark plugs. So we have one spark plug here. This one's a car spark plug. It's a part of the electronic ignition. So these are the 2 ignition coils here, the solid state ignition coils, which provide spark to the engine and make it go bang. And that's pretty much it for the top of the engine. This is where the primary cooling of the engine happens as well, where ram air comes in from the front here and gets blasted over these fins and through these fins, which helps cool the engine. And then the pressure that is, you can kind of see there's a bit of a pressure vessel that's made here. If you imagine the cowl is kind of covering up here and covering the entire top of the engine, well, with all this air coming in the front end, all this air coming in here, a bit of pressure builds up in here. And if I go ahead and actually shine the torch up from underneath, there you go, you can see the torch coming up from underneath. That's where all of the hot air goes. So the actual flow of the engine is nice cool air, comes in from the front, goes over the cylinders, blows out the bottom here, and then drops out the back end of the cowl there. So this is the primary way the aircraft, this engine here cools itself, is just across the top here. We can see a few other little bits and pieces. That little fitting right in there is actually the oil line for the prop. So the prop here, variable pitch, and it uses oil pressure to change the pitch of the blades, right? So the blades here can rotate and move, and this little oil line here, it's actually, I believe it's actually the return line. The actual feed line is down the center point of the crank, and this here is the low pressure oil return. Yeah, it is, and we can, if we actually follow it on the bottom side of the cowl there, there it is there. You can see it following all the way down. While we're still looking here, this is an alternator. This is a lightweight alternator for the engine, and it's just got a belt, this little belt here, and the belt just wraps around here. This thing up front is called a ring gear, and this ring gear is just like it sounds. It's a gear in a ring. This is where the starter engages, and we'll move over onto the other side here in a second and show you the starter. I wish I had my iPad so I could read chat here. Any questions? Later. The RAM intake help compression as well. No, yeah. So the actual intake is this thing down here, and so this is the intake, and it's actually referred to as in this aircraft as the donkey dick. So if you can probably see why. Yeah, so this is the actual intake here, where air goes in the front and gets sucked up through the engine. We'll get onto the intake and those cycles here in a bit. Oh, fuck it, we'll do it right now. So air comes in through here, in through the donkey dick, and it actually comes here through the fuel metering device. So this at the bottom, it kind of looks a little bit like a carburetor, this thing down here, but it's actually not. It's a fuel metering device, this great big thing here. So this is where our throttle is. It's a throttle body and then fuel metering device. That great big cylinder here at the back there is the fuel metering device. So air comes in here, and you'll notice it kind of just goes into this red thing here. And this is actually the oil sump. So this is where all of the... Oh, I'm just blinding everyone. This is actually the oil sump, where all of the oil that's not being circulated through the engine at any one time is sitting there. Yeah, just sitting there. It's a tank. It's an oil tank. And then, as the air goes through here, through the throttle body, it will then go up through the sump, and this is where it comes out. These gold tubes here. So this is the intake. There's the rest of the sump. If I can get my hand out of the way, here is the rest of the sump, this great big thing here. So it's quite a tricky sump when you look in there, as these tubes, they kind of continue onto the inside. So the sump is hollow, but it actually has another set of tubes running through it, if that makes any sense. So air comes in there, goes into another spider where 4 lines come out, because 4 cylinders, and it goes in there. And oil sits all around. Oil sits all around the intake there. So that does 2 things. There's various thoughts. One, it stops any intake icing from happening, and 2, it actually cools the oil just a little bit, because you imagine you've got nice cool air coming in here, and then going in through the sump there, and that cool air would have some kind of cooling effect of the oil as well, as the oil is just pooling in the bottom there and just sitting there doing nothing. So air comes in through that. Notice no fuel yet, right? The fuel here doesn't get added until it comes down these lines. So these lines here, the fuel doesn't get added until right in the cylinder. So everything that's coming through these tubes, everything that's coming through here is just air. That's all it is. Just air. That's it. Just air. Starter motor is here, and you can see it's got some teeth there, and if we go ahead and get the camera here nice and lined up, you'll see that they don't actually line up. So here's the starter ring gear, there's the actual gear for the starter motor, and what happens is it's got what's called a bendix there, is as you engage the starter, motor, the how do you say, the rotational energy is all I've got. Now, the rotational energy here of this starter, as it starts spinning, it actually makes it pop out. So when this starter actually engages onto this ring gear, it's already spinning. So when you engage a starter, the thing drops out, slots into the gap here, and just physically turns the propeller. There's no starter in the back there. It physically will pop out here, engage with the ring gear, and then spin the propeller. And then once it disengages, or once you release the starter, what should happen is this bendix will pop back in, and away you go. However, if this doesn't disengage, you have a big problem. One, you'll hear it. You hear this great big grinding sound if it doesn't engage, and typically it just means, well, if you went flying with it, you fucked your starter, it's done, put it in the bin. But if you hear it on the ground, you can turn the thing off, spray it up with some silicone spray, and away you go. Of course, always remember to keep things lubricated. So, donkey dick lubricate, whatever. So it's always keep things lubricated. And I like using silicone spray, and I silicone sprayed this ring gear here over a year ago, and actually you can see there's little bits of black specks on it, right? There's little black specks there, but the silicone spray, it's fantastic. If I just go ahead and wipe my finger here, I'll take a fair bit of that black stuff off. It provides a nice little layer where the dust and the grit and all of that doesn't stick to it. So it's very easy to clean. So starter motor. Exhaust. We've got quite an advanced source exhaust on here, as we have 2 actual exhaust pipes. We'll look under there, we can see we've got 2 actual exhaust pipes, but the exhaust has to be tuned. So you'll see there's actually pipes here that connect the left and the right side together, and those left and the right side together make sure that the engine stays in tune when it's actually firing. Whole heap of hardcore fluid flow and all that other bullshit to why you have to have the exhausts together. So again, left side is pretty much the same as the right. Again, up here, solid state injectors, fuel spider, fuel lines, and what else have we got? Let's go up to the back here. So this is where the oil cooler is. This great big thing is here, and if we go ahead and put ourselves up the front, there we go. We can actually see the intake right there for the oil cooler. So all of this ram air that's coming in through here is able to go through the cooler, is forced through the cooler, which helps keep the oil nice and cool. It's a function of an oil cooler, right? What else have we got? Well, this aircraft also has a backup alternator. So see this little orange thing here that I'm tapping with my finger? It's actually a secondary alternator, and the reason behind it is that this aircraft has quite a lot of electronics, as you saw when we were running it, and if we were to lose an alternator and battery, well, it's also IFR capable as well, so this thing is certified for IFR, so planning for worst case scenario, in cloud, lose alternator, lose electronics, and now no longer have any horizon reference, well, this little guy here will go ahead and power one of those screens for ad infinitum until you land. So worst case scenario, this little guy right here is providing very, very basic power to the aircraft, just keeping one of those screens running. So redundancy aplenty in the plane. Of course, this is here where we just pulled off the oil filter, where we screwed it off. Down in here where these red cables are, it's kind of hard to see. Let me try and bring the camera in here. Yeah, there we go. So what you're looking at there is the back end of the Magneto, where those red, these multiple red cables are there. And this is the mechanical unit for the ignition system. We could talk about a Magneto some other time. It's a little difficult to deal with here. But a Magneto, it's basically a little tiny engine-driven generator that is purely to provide spark to the engine. And that's there. It's only on the left side. The right-hand side is the electronic ignition, of course. Looking again on the side of the engine here, these are the heads, or the rocker covers are in here, and this is the rocker cover. Inside here is the rockers, and the rockers here, the way this engine works is, let's call it what it is, a horizontally opposed, what's the word? Horizontally opposed push rod operated engine, or reciprocating engine, whatever you want to call it. So these tubes that you see running over the top of the cylinder, this is how you can tell a Lycoming from a Continental. Is Continental have these tubes on the other side of the cylinder on the bottom side, but with the Lycoming here is what these tubes house is these great big rods, and they're not as thick as these. They're really quite thin. They're probably about a 1/4 inch diameter, about that big, and those inside these tubes, those rods, are what actually actuate the valves which open and close and allow air and fuel to enter the engine. So we'll actually be able to show that with our little borescope camera. We'll take out the spark plugs, put the borescope camera in there, spin the propeller around, and you'll be able to see what these are pushing. You'll be able to see the valves moving in and out, which should be pretty cool. Should be pretty cool. So yeah, here's where the push rod activation is, and so the push rods here physically move up and down like this, and they just move up and down like that. And then in this rocker cover here, which we'll have a look at one eventually, is that they go ahead and actuate a rocker which moves up and down like this, which opens and closes the valves, which allows air to come through here, enter the cylinder, fuel starts coming in with the air, and bang, the spark plug goes ahead and makes everything make some noise. These lines here that you can see on the front, these lines here are just oil return lines. So these are low pressure oil. They take oil that gets funneled through these tubes out to the heads. That takes that oil, once it's done its job here, back, and it just drops it right back into the sump, right in there. It just drops it straight directly into the sump. What else have we got on the back side here? Just a whole heap of bullshit. This is a little fuel transducer. So this is a fuel flow transducer down here where I'm pinching with my fingers. What else have we got? Bad wiring, more bad wiring, and some fuses. These guys here, oil pressure, and I believe fuel pressure. Looks like fuel pressure, this left-hand one here. Fuel pressure, oil pressure, bad wiring. These white things over there, these guys here, this is for the Dynon avionics. The Dynon has a, what do you call it? Synthetic vision, and that synthetic vision here is driven by this, and then there's the GPS here for the Garmin GNS 430 unit. That's that one right there. What else have we got? There's a little guy here. We don't plug the engine in, but no, this is how we keep the engine nice and warm. Plug this in as a little heater pad, just like you would in your car if you're in winter. That's what you got there. I'm going to jump on the chair, and I'm going to roll around and show you some of these little leaky leaks, and you'll see what I mean. Hopefully the camera is going to pick up the UV light. I haven't tried it yet, so I'll actually see if you guys have any questions first. So here I am. You have questions? Fire away. Fire away, fire away. What do we got? Any questions? Angry Beaver, are the plugs double or single spark? Is this FADEC? No FADEC. Magneto. Yeah, like a lawnmower. Exactly like a lawnmower, Angry Beaver. 100% like a lawnmower. Yeah, it's a boxer. Yep, so it's horizontally opposed, eh? Subaru's boxer engines. Yeah, the aircraft across the road from me, across over there, actually has a Subaru engine in it. That's literally has a Subaru engine in it. Yeah. When am I going to do some actual work? Get fucked. Hey, what's going on, John? How are you today, mate? Hope you're having a good day. So, what else? Yeah, so if you have any questions, fire away. Will I be inspecting the prop hub? Yeah, I'll go ahead and have a look at the prop hub here in a little while. I just wanted to go ahead and show you the UV active light here and show you where these leaks are. Smiley face. Get out of it. Yeah, I'll do a hanger to it. I mean, it's just some other little planes. Got your coffee mug. Yeah, what do you think of it? It would have been a little bit cooler, but is your background mainly in general aviation? No, it's actually in commercial aviation. So commercial aviation and warbirds. So before I was doing, yeah, it's pretty fucking cold flying through. My feet are starting to hurt. Yeah, so commercial aviation. This general aviation only picked up in the last little bit, and warbirds as well. So I went out of commercial aviation into warbirds, which was Spitfires, Mustangs, F-86 Sabres, stuff like that. So that was where my real experience was. But yeah, I like these little planes. I like them a lot. So whenever I had a chance to work on them, that's what I did. Jumped on and did some work. Can the ring gear and its assembly count as a flywheel? Basically, yeah. Angry Beaver, yeah. You'd count it as a flywheel, but it doesn't... Like, a flywheel adds inertia, right? A flywheel adds inertia in a car, but this doesn't necessarily... This doesn't add any inertia to the rotating mass of the prop, but it is... You would call it like a... You could call it like a flywheel. You can call it like a flywheel, but yeah. Any other questions, or I'll go ahead and start showing you, hopefully... I don't know if the camera's going to show it up. We'll find out. We'll find out. Where did I put it? Oh, yeah, here. Alright, nothing. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can start showing off these leaks. Do you fly any of these? I've flown this thing a few times, yeah. There's a video on YouTube of me flying it. I got to fly a Sakota today. Nice! Chris Lee has to pee. Nice. So, like, the prop provides the inertia like a lawnmower blade. Yeah, kind of. Like, yeah, I mean, back to the lawnmower, but yeah, it's just think of it as a great big lawnmower blade. These engines are simple. They're designed to be really, really simple. In fact, there's more technology in your car than is in this engine here. These are just really super, super simple. I mean... This thing produces 160 horsepower and it's 320 cubic inches. What is that? It's like 4.2 litres? Only 160 horsepower. I mean, 4.2 litre engines in cars are making 300, maybe even more horsepower. So everything in this engine is designed to be bulletproof. It's designed to be really, really strong, really, really tough, and yeah, simple. Really, really simple. 6 Evil Tune-Up. RB6. Nice tea cozy you got there. It's amazing. My mum made it for me. Alright, so what I want to do here is I want to see if this will actually pick it up. I think it kind of will. So the oil that we use in this engine is Shell 10W or 15W 15W50, so we're using multi-grade oil. Some people don't like it. I think it's needed in Canada, but whatever. So what I've got here, the Shell oil, it actually has a UV reactive substance put in it, so you can actually look for leaks really, really simply with just a UV light, and it looks like the camera is actually going to pick it up. So if I go ahead and illuminate some oil here and show you on the camera, I'm going to hope it's going to pick it up. It kind of is. You can kind of see that luminescence, right? It's kind of like a little bit yellow and green around the outside there. So this is oil that's just dropped from the filter there. But if I go ahead and show you where some of these other leaks are, I'll just have a look around first. See if I can find one for you. There's a heap on the other side. Ah, here we go. So if I take a regular light and jam it in here, I'll try and show you this. If I take a regular light and shine it in there, so what I'm looking at is, see where that silver pipe is there, right? Look under that silver pipe where those two red painted bolts are, yeah? And that whole back area there. That looks fine, right? I don't see any oil there. It looks okay. I mean, there's a little bit of oil there. You can see it. But watch what happens when I go ahead and shine this UV light on it. I'm going to hope it's going to show up here so you can see it. And it looks like a bad porno. Look at all that. There is oil absolutely fucking everywhere down there. And where this is coming from is the number this cylinder here that I'm leaning against. It's really quite bad. You can really see all that oil there pooling around. You can see really on top where those two bolts are. It's really, really cool. But anyway, you can see there's a leak there. That's what a leak is going to look like, is we can see the residual oil there. And that's not too much to get worried about, right? Like, it's not crazy, but you can see it. When I go ahead and show you the sump around the other side, you'll see what I mean. It's really, really quite bad. Let's take our rolly chair. And you'll see what I mean. When we start getting in here, it looks all right. Oh, it's okay. If you actually see... Let's try and... It's hard to show. Okay, here's where bad porn set takes over again. Is let's have a look there. I don't know if you can pick that up. But all around this sump there, where I'm showing, is there's oil everywhere. In fact, even you can see, look at that line there. This area here I'm not too worried about. You can literally trace where the oil's coming from. And you can see it's coming from just that intake tube there, which that really is a weird spot for oil to be coming out of. But where I think it's actually coming from, as you can see that line there as it has dripped down and pulled there. I think it's actually coming from higher up, which is where if I go ahead and shine my light right in there, get the camera in the right spot, and see that really bright line, that horizontal line that's on the left-hand side of the camera there, that where it's split, so you can see the two bolts, that bolt there, in between those two, this is where the sump is, and what I can see, you can see that line going all the way across. In fact, I'll keep going all the way along, and you'll see there's quite a substantial leak, and I think this is where this leak is coming from. I mean, initially you look at that and go, oh, okay, it's coming from here, but there's no way oil can come from here. This is an intake tube. There's no way. So where I think it's actually coming from is, well, not think, I know now, is it's coming here out of the sump. It's dripping down onto the intake tube, and then it's rolling around the inside of that tube, and then it's coming out the bottom side here, and dripping into the bottom cowl. Remember we said there was a leak on the left-hand side of the engine? We've now found the leak. We can now give ourselves a pat on the back as we are the world's best engineer / detective. We found the problem. There it is there. It's leaking out of the sump. And in fact, if I go ahead and continue along here, it doesn't get any better. You can see the, I don't know if I can show it. It's kind of just being very unhelpful. But yeah, there we go. So we got a leak here on the bottom of this sump. In fact, we can see it gets a little bit worse over here. Let's see if I can show it to you. There we go. You can see even more there down the back side of the engine there, right? Detectives looking for blood of the engine. That's us. Oh, look at that. That looks cool. That's like a blood fest. No engine. There was a murder here, and I think it was oil. With this music and a UV light, you'd almost swear at a rave. A deadly rave. Yeah, so, and this cylinder here as well, this is what I was looking at where I was like, ooh, is, let's see if I can jam this in here. Is that working? So there's the sump that we're looking at, this all leaky McLeak pants. But have a look at this cylinder as well. See that nut that is right there just underneath this cable? You can see there's a line of oil there under the cylinder flange. This is bad. This was leaking on the other side of the engine, and now it looks like it's here. So I just have a feeling this wasn't the world's most best put together engine, is that it's leaking from where everything attaches to the crank, and that's pretty typical of something that hasn't been put together well. And like, I mean, we've got a leak there from a seal, we've got a leak there, I know I've got a leak on the other side. They're all little minor gripes, but all of them put together do not, it's not in fact, you can see a little bit of blood splatter coming down. Can I get this? Trying to show it. See a little bit of blood splatter there. Anyway, yeah, so it looks like this cylinder as well has a little bit of a problem. The sump is probably going to have to get pulled to stop this leak. And it's only on the back side here. It's only on this area here. That we're seeing. Yeah, it's only really on this area here that we're seeing the problem. That's cool. What else have I got for you? Well, we found a leak. I think there was a leak up here as well. No, it looks like it must have been the other side. Yeah, I don't really see anything here. This little, this thing here, this silver thing, this is a cylinder head temperature probe. Alright, let's just check this other side of the engine out now. Put the all the USB cables in this pile of water here beside me. And, yeah, I think it was one of these that was leaking. No. But let's have a look at... Yeah, even here, look at this. Try and get the reflection. So what I'm pointing at is, again, the sump here. If I go ahead and point with my finger, you can't really see. But the sump, see again, where this red thing is, and there's that split in it. That split there, if I go ahead and shine the UV light in there, there we go. We can see it really easily there right now. There's a leak there between the sump and like McTrying was talking about dissimilar metals and stuff like that. Well, this sump here is the same material type as the actual crankcase, so there wouldn't be any temperature differential between the two. It's just a leaky McLeak pants. Back over to the bloodbath over here. Yeah. I think the sump's going to need to be pulled. By think, I mean it should. The sump should be pulled. Yeah, I'm still getting a drip off that. See where that bolt is? Yeah. Well, we're gonna have some work to do. All right, let me just put this up here, and I'll come back to chat and do a debrief with you guys. See what you think so far. That's a good spot. I'm going to use that later. All right, what do you got for me? Hit me. Questions, queries, comments, thoughts, everything else in between. Rain Dog's here. What's going on, Rain Dog? Not a complete overhaul. What I'm going to have to do is basically we're going to have to pull this intake off here. We're going to have to pull the throttle body and all of that off. We're going to have to take the exhaust off, the intake pipes here. They're going to have to come off, and let's use a proper torch. We're going to have to pretty much pull all of this crap off on the bottom side of the engine, and then we're going to drop the sump. It's not an overhaul is where we would literally strip everything off the plane, just absolutely everything off it. We're not going to have to do that. Flying poos are going to fly before July. Yeah, it will. it'll fly before July. It's not that much. It's just time. Like the gaskets, probably like $25. The gasket's probably like $25 from Aircraft Spruce. And it's just time. That's all it is. It's just time, and I mean, it would take me a day or half a day to get everything stripped off the aircraft, and then drop the sump. It's these cylinders that I really want to have a good look at and see if there's a problem there. But it's a day's worth of work there maybe two. No, a day is just ripping everything off. A day ripping it off, and then probably a couple of hours cleaning up the sump. New gasket, some new gasket goo and stuff like that. Jam it on, and it should be fine. We'll need some DC3, DC4, that Dow coring stuff, and that'll be it. It's an RV6. Ages. This thing's got like 160 hours on it. Like, it's good for another 2,000 plus hours easily. Yeah, it's typically what happens is because the sump's such a wide, it's such a large piece. Is when it gets torqued up, is it needs to be torqued up in like a star pattern, and typically people will torque it up in a U shape. And what ends up happening, what'll typically end up happening is the sump will just be. It'll just get torqued a little bit and it'll just leak. It's just the problem with paper gaskets is once they get wet, they leak forever. When they're dry, they're fine, but yeah. How much longer will it take? The owner helps. Well, it just depends on the other stuff because we've got the tail to deal with as well. There's actually not a little bit of a leaky leak right here. It's nothing crazy. A little bit of splatter down here. Well, I'll need to have a look around the front of the engine here once I pull the plugs. But you do it in a cross pattern. Yeah, just in a cross pattern. Anyway, the engine run up went well, Azure TE. How much longer? It's probably, I don't know, waiting for parts and stuff is a hard thing. I am concerned about the tail. I don't know. We've still got a lot to do with the annual. I've got more panels to pull off the thing and start doing inspections there, but it's hard to estimate. It just depends. I'm going to have to talk to the owner, and I'll let him know about the sump here, and it can be his choice. I mean, he might just, yeah, whatever. It's a small leak, and it's not leaking much. The problem is just going to get worse. Once they're wet, they're always wet. That's it. So there's still work to be done here. I've got to pull the plugs. There's probably another 3 hours worth of work on the engine just to pull the plugs, inspect those. We'll get the injection system off, clean up the injectors, and I've got to pull the gascolator as well, have a little look inside there. And gascolator's basically a little fuel sump that separates water and fuel. And what else have we got? What else have we got? I got to inspect these. Yeah, there's about 3 hours worth of work still on the engine. Plus that, it's probably going to take a day pulling it apart, and then a day putting it back together, and then on top of that, the rest of the annual. I think I'd like to do the tires as well. I'd like to rotate those. kind of getting distracted by other things now, but yeah, I think I'd like to rotate the tires. They've only had one season, but I think spinning them here, yeah, they're starting to get a little bit of a chamfer. So if I go ahead, we've got to pull the wheels anyway to re-grease the bearings. But I might disassemble the wheels, give the wheels an overhaul, flip the tires as well. So they're going to be... What happens with an aircraft like this is the tires, their contact patch on the ground is like this, and so one side will wear out before the other side. And what happened with the last set of tires is we left them on just a little bit too long, and so if they could have been rotated, we would have been able to deal with it and probably get another season out of them. But we left it too late, and there was canvas showing, and by we got to then, it was bad. Yeah, it's made of paper. Yeah, paper. It's fairly thick paper. I mean, it's probably like 24,000 thick, maybe 32,000 thick. The idea being is the material that's used on the crankcase and the sump here is they're cast. And when you have cast stuff, there's lots of, if you looked at it microscopically, there's lots of little divots and stuff like that in the surface. And so what paper does is it's fibrous, it's fantastic. And so when you compress these two things together, the fibers go and fill all of those little divots and stuff like that, all of that little area, and it compresses it all up and fills that area and seals it nicely. So when you have these two materials that come together that aren't exactly perfect, the paper is great for it. Rubber or silicon isn't that great for a gasket like that, because rubber has more of a tendency to like spread out rather than fill the holes around it. It's not porous, and where you have these two materials that are going together, you want a porous material to go in there to fill the gap. Porous also means it can absorb shit, and in this case the seal is broken, and she's sucked up a little bit of oil into the paper, and once the paper gets wetted out with oil, it's like an area to flow, right? Like if I went and dropped some water on this towel, right? Eventually the water, even if this was the only point that was wet, if I left this like this, eventually this whole towel would get wet if enough water was there, right? So yeah. Didn't you want to mention a website that sells gaskets that never wear out? Yeah, and yeah, actually, yeah, that's these. So these are they're on the rocker cover gaskets. So on the rocker cover gaskets, they're silicon. So the rocker cover gaskets, I'll go ahead and just bring the camera over here. These are the gaskets that never wear out. They're fantastic. But the reason why they're here, that's the wrong flashlight. Here they are here. So these are the gaskets here. You can see this sort of, it's hard because there's orange. I'll just put my thumb under it there. And these are silicon gaskets, and they're reusable ad infinitum, and they're great, absolutely fantastic. They're really, really good. But the reason why we use silicon gaskets here is we have a temperature differential, and we also have different materials. So there doesn't need to be like a porous type gasket in between the two. We just want to seal them up. And so you can actually, if you see kind of in there a little bit, you'll see that the gasket's spread out and pushed aside. And yeah, and the other thing is the way it actually seals. If you look really closely inside here, so this is the sealing face, if you like, what you're looking at there. If you look close, you'll see there's like a channel. There's like a channel that runs through it, and what that channel does is it's kind of like down like this, right? So when you press this channel down on something that's silicon like this, it performs like a seal. I believe the word like a labyrinth style seal. Well, labyrinth is lots of them. It's just, it gives you a point, a sharp point of pressure, like just like if I got this and pushed down on it hard enough, you kind of see I can push it into the actual sticky tape here, right? I can kind of, you'd see it like sinks in. That's how it's actually sealing. This is how this silicon here is actually sealing, is that little is like pushing down, spreading everything, and it seals it up nice and tight. However, we can't do that down here on the sump because heat expansion, blah, 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 blah. And it's actually a structural part of the engine, that sump. It actually provides a rigidity to the engine, and that rigidity has to come through a nice surface-to-surface contact, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so they're the super duper gaskets there. Those are the super duper mega ultimate gaskets. That's it. No other questions, queries, comments. Otherwise, I've got to get back to work. Sitting here gas bagging. Oh, I actually got to cut this oil filter open. That would be interesting. I'll show you guys cutting. I'm gonna have to drag this all the way over there. Oh, it won't be too bad. Won't be too bad. Yeah, it's a shame about the sump. There are only tiny leaks, but It's a lot of work, but it should be done. For an aircraft like this, that isn't like part of a flying school or something like that, it should be done. Like, it's not a problem like it's going to run out of oil. It's not going to leak that much. It's just going to be an annoyance. There's going to be oil dripping down the side, and it's only going to get worse. It's a shame. Gonna need more gaskets. We may as well replace the exhaust gaskets. We may as well replace the intake gaskets. We got all of the spark pluggy things that we need. Yeah. Yeah. All right. What do I get? So you spend a lot of time? Yeah, that's what I was just doing. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Heat expansion. Whatever. Yeah, we get the idea. I'm glad you like it, Shmoo. I hope you guys are liking it as well. Yeah. So there's. I'm trying to have a look at what the time is here. How long have we been going for? Not long enough. I'd like to achieve a little bit more here today. So why don't we? I've got to get these spark plugs out. That's what we'll try and do, is put as an achievement here, is I want to open up the oil filter so we can have a look inside there. What we're looking inside the oil filter for is like metal particulate and stuff like that. Anything like that would say that there's larger problems internally. We're not expecting that though. The engine makes plenty of power and it's fine, sounds fine. But no, you never know. So I'd like to cut that open, and after we've done that, we'll pull the spark plugs. I don't even know if I have a wrench for the spark plugs, though. I've got to get over into the next door neighbour's hangar and steal his 7/8 socket. But I can pull the top spark plugs out, so there's that. They're 3/4 sockets, so I can grab those. Might pull yeah, I'm going to pull the injectors. I'll show you how the injectors work, and I'll give them a clean in a tub of fuel, and yeah, we'll do that. So, yeah, alright, if you guys can just give me 5 minutes, I'm going to grab some tools, and we'll pull these last little bits off. I'm going to take the oil filter over where we need to cut it open, and I'll drag all this stuff over there, and show you cutting open the filter and what we're looking for there. That's probably not going to be that exciting. I could probably just cut it and show it to you, and yeah, that might be a better option. Cut it, show it to you, instead of dragging the stuff all the way over there. I'm just going to be with a hacksaw cutting the fucking thing. Alright, give me 5 minutes, I'll be right back, and we'll go from there. Alright, let's get back to it. See if we can sneak in here. Of course it would be a random fucking size. It's meant to be 13/16. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just going to pull these top plugs. That is the wrong way. These top plugs are just automotive spark plugs, nothing fancy. Don't need to be fancy. Yeah, we're going to have to get a wrench in on there. What are we looking for? In a 13/16. Such random sizing. Ugh. Be right back. All right. When you're taking spark plugs out on the top of the engine where these torque tubes are, you really got to be careful that you don't just torque the wrench down onto the tubes, because they're really quite thin aluminum. So they're very easy to bend, break, and you have to put them in the bin. Okay. The other thing to do here is when you pull out a plug is have a good look at it. I'm looking for any soot marks or any burn marks or anything like that. Gives an indication of how the inside of the engine's running. I got a nice clean burn. There's a little bit of white, nothing crazy. All that white is just lead. No large amounts of soot. The gap looks fine. Like I said, be a detective. Always look for any bit of information you can get. Yeah, same thing. Just some lead deposits, and that's about it. Some people go really hardcore and make the spark plugs go back into the exact cylinder they came out of. I got a little bit of soot on this one, but nothing crazy, nothing on the electrode. Just might have just gotten a little bit blackened when we were taxiing back at low RPM. It would be seeing as if there was something really wrong, as it would see large amounts of blackness, not just a small little bit of blackness. All it means is just running a little bit over rich. And again, just all these plugs are looking great. All the gaps look fine. They're all going to be reusable. That's good news. Alright, so that's that started. I could probably... No, I need a socket to get the bottom plugs, but at least the engine now has no compression, so if something does go wrong here, a little bit of fuel gets in here, I'm not going to be worried about it. She's not going to go very far. So let's pull these injectors out and let's have a look at them. We'll put them in a bath of aviation gas, and that will be a good thing to leave running. I think these are 5/16, 7/16. Close. Just grab a 7/16 here. There we go. Easy metric sizes. No, I was wrong again. 3/8. I had a 3/8 in my hand at some point. Alright. That one will do. So first we just go ahead and remove the actual fuel line, and the fuel line here is quite bendy, so you just undo it, bend it out of the way, and you get access to the actual injector. Okay, well, good, I haven't muted myself. Beautiful. Alright, that's 2 fuel lines out of the way. Just be gentle when we bend them. I did see someone asking before about the fuel lines, the airworthiness directive from Lycoming, and we do actually have all of the correct. We do have all of the correct mountings for the fuel lines here, so we can go ahead and sign that AD off. That we don't need to worry about it. It's done and dusted. It's already been accomplished. Alright, that's all of the fuel lines out of the way as well. So no spark, no fuel. Nothing should go bang on me. Oh, hangar is heating up. We're down to 2.1 degrees before, now we're at 3.9. How good's that? All of those is in the United States that use stupid temperature readings. It's 39 degrees in the hangar at the moment. A little bit on the chilly side. Alright, next thing we're going to be doing is taking out these injectors, and I'll sit down and show you how the injectors work, talk through them a little bit. What do I need for those? They're 3/8 again. A little wobbly wobble. Grab a couple of these things out. Maybe they're... no, yeah, they're definitely 7/16. Bigger. Bigger than a half-inch. Let's make it up as I go. Yeah, there we go. Nice half-inch. Alright, got a little wobble extension that will drop in here. Drop in here, I mean drop completely. Perfect. Alright, out you come now. Perfect. I'll pull them all out and then we'll sit down and show you them. Okay, that looks fine. Number 2. I'm going to use a longer extension. Why the hell not? Alright, here comes number 4. There's 2 injectors. Let's take the last 2. This back one's always a pain to get out. 3 injectors. Let's get this last one out. I think we got her. Oh yeah. Good job, Wobbly Extension. You did your task admirably. Alright, fuel injectors. This one's quite dirty. Absolutely nothing to them. Absolutely nothing to them. With the injectors, no, it doesn't matter. They're all the same, unless they're tuned. They're Gucci injectors or something like that. If they're tuned injectors, then each injector is tuned to each cylinder. These aren't tuned, however, they're just standard injectors. So this is all they are. This is all an injector is. It's not even a valve. It's not nothing. It's just basically a brass fitting. This is how it looks like. Here, hopefully the camera will focus. That's all it is this fitting here. And it's got 3 parts to it, where it's got a body and this sheath on the outside. Well, we can go ahead and pop this sheath off here. It's probably going to take a little bit of persuading. Of course, I didn't bring over a screwdriver. I'll just go ahead and use a knife. It should be enough to get at it. Wrong screwdriver. So I don't cut myself, or just go ahead and just give us a little bit of a little tweaky tweak to help her come up. Alright, well the first part here is the actual jet. So when you get tuned injectors, this is what changes. So here's the body. This is the actual jet. So any of you old guys that don't even have to be old guys, any of you carburetor guys, this is what you're looking at here. Is this little jet? And it's got a tiny little orifice there, which is where the fuel gets metered. I mean, it's you could probably stack like 5 or 6 hairs together and jam it in that hole, and that's all there is. And this is what actually provides, not quite the atomization, but we'll get to there in a second. And it just slides into the actual body here. There's nothing actually holding it in. But we'll get into the actual operation of how the thing works. There's no actual any operation. It's just the theory on how the thing works. Quite fit that in there. Looks like I've had trouble getting this one off before. There we go. And here what we're looking at is just a skirt. It's here. This skirt just kind of sits over the top of it there. And what this actually does is you'll see there's I want to say there was 3 parts. I meant 4. So here are all of the parts of the injector, all in my hand here. These are all of the parts of the injector. That's it. So we have a sheath, or a cover, and we have a body. So the body here is literally, it's just a way of, well, there's more to it, but it's a way of getting the fuel into the engine. What you'll actually see is there's a hole. There's a hole right there. And so the way the injector works is, what's really important to get fuel into the engine is we want a good atomization, right? Like when we want the fuel to that comes out of that little nozzle there, when it comes out, is we want it to go into really fine particles, or really, really fine droplets. The finer the droplets, the better the combustion, or the cleaner the combustion is. There's more. It starts getting into chemical bullshit here, but the more finer the particles are, the more oxygen that these particles have to react with, right? Because all combustion is a chemical reaction, yeah? So we want a really, really nice fine atomization. However, how do we get an atomization here? If we're just passing it through a tiny little orifice, well, it is going to start splattering out. However, it's only going to be as good as the fuel coming in like this. So what this little injector does is it actually works kind of like a carburetor, where that little hole that you see there actually draws air. So as fuel throws through the injector, so fuel comes in from this side and this is out into the engine, as fuel throws through, this little hole here actually creates a bit of a venturi, and it'll actually suck air in with the fuel. And as the fuel comes out the nozzle, there's a little bit of air, a little bit of fuel, and that really helps just push this fuel out and helps it atomize into tiny, tiny little droplets inside the cylinder. It's all it's doing is it's just a tiny, tiny little hole there that's just bringing in air with it. And so now we can start putting everything back together and understand it. So we have a atomization unit here. This little guy here is a tiny, tiny little orifice, and it sits inside this tube. The tube is obviously hollow there because this is where the air gets flown through. And if you look really closely, you'll see there's the camera's kind of sucking here, but can I make it focus here? I don't know. I don't know. There's like chamfers. So basically what this is doing is it's creating a venturi where converging, diverging duct in here, where as the air comes in through here, or as the fuel flows past it, it's creating a negative pressure around the outside of this, and that little bit of negative pressure draws air in through that little hole, which comes out this end and atomizes the fuel well. It atomizes the fuel well, like good. What this little mesh thing here is it goes and covers up that little hole, so bugs and shit don't go flying down that hole and clog up your injector. And a little bug flew down that hole, it would not fit out. Like this hole here is larger than the hole that the fuel comes out of, so bug goes in there, clogs up your injector, and you have no injector. All of a sudden, there's no fuel. Notice there's nothing here that actually stops the flow of fuel. Absolutely nothing. There's no, this little piece doesn't move in and out. There's nothing like that. There is nothing stopping the flow of fuel. What is stopping the flow of fuel, however, is the pressure inside the cylinder. But I'll talk about that a little bit later. And of course, the other piece, the fourth piece, is just the cover that goes over the mesh there that just keeps everything all nice and together. So there's a little injector part, this little guy right here, little injector part. And if you have a tuned injector, this is the bit that needs to go to each individual cylinder, but it's fine. So what I do is I go ahead and pull all of these bits apart and just let them soak in fuel. And what's nicer is to have a, what do you call it? Ultrasonic cleaner. When you put it in a bath of fuel, the little ultrasonic cleaner sits and goes meh, and like buzzes a really, really high frequency, ultrasonic frequency, right? And it will just clean all the particulate and all that other crap off here, because that black there is literally the combustion chamber. That's literally byproduct of the combustion process. Anyway, any questions while I've got everything lined up here? Just talking away. What do I get? Questions? I've rebuilt about 50 carburetors because a couple of friends have boats. Oh yeah. Coverage map, blah blah blah, GSA. What? Oh, is that John Flies? It is John Flies. Ah, he must already set up. That's fucking good news. I am glad. Yeah, I'll go ahead and just pull the rest of this bit of. So is the injector partially ditting outside? I don't know what ditting is. Wire line outside the cylinder. Otherwise, how does the air get in? Yeah. So okay, are you asking where this physically is? Yeah. So this 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 is inside the actual cylinder. So this is screwing into the cylinder, this part up to there. I don't know if you can see. Yep, so this part up to here is inside the cylinder, and then this whole part here is outside the cylinder. And this thread that you can see at the top is where the fuel line goes on. So fuel line is here, this is inside the cylinder, and this is what's sticking up outside the cylinder there. So the air comes through that tiny little gap there, and this is what's outside the cylinder. So from this part down is all outside, is internal in the cylinder. So this is actually getting the actual flame front inside the engine. So this is deep inside the engine where the piston's going up and down, and this is sitting there. And this is why it's brass, so it's quite temperature resistant, of course. Try and get this puppy off. I'll just use the backside of the knife again. These bits here are just press fit on. They're nothing fancy about them at all. No one even just fell apart in my hand. Some are easier to get apart than others. Of course, anything you got in your hands, always inspect it. It might be a crack in the thing, because this is sitting in the inside the engine. If metal fatigue or heat problems or anything like that, you could get a crack in an injector. It's very rarely you'll see a crack in the injector unless the person putting them in is a hyper noob and has just over-torqued them, and then they'll crack. But other than that, you're typically fine. You never really see any problems with them. There we go. There's a huge pile of injectors. Maybe I'll grab that camera and I'll show you where the injector sits there. Wireline. Do we get a certificate at the end? Yeah. Yeah. I booked a flight. Yeah, so excuse the pile of shit on the desk, but there you go. There's all the injectors and all of the bits out. So there's the 4 bodies and 4 bodies, and a bit of luck. Oh, we haven't taken that one out. This one here, I'm just trying to pull out with my one-handed. So there's the 4 injector bodies. And there's the 4 atomizers. And we got 4 little debugging meshes there. 4 little anti-bug devices. Some more anti-bug devices. And there we all are. There's nice 4 pretty injectors there. How cool is that? Pretty cool, if you ask me, but I'm obviously biased. I will go ahead and I'll go ahead and put one of these in the engine wire line, so you can. I'm not going to tighten it up. I'm just going to screw it in a little bit. That's the sound they make when they're going in. Actually, if you didn't know, and I can show you from number 2 cylinder because we can see it right up the front. Flashy McFlash pants. I've probably dropped the flashlight in the engine. Pocket. I got a great big UV flashlight there. That's not really going to achieve anything. Whatever, it's gone. I've already dropped it into the engine somewhere. Alright, so I can see, hopefully with this camera here. Oh, there it is. It's too many shelves. So here we go. I'm going to have to try and do this all one-handed and stuff. So if we look in here, that little hole, right... Ugh. There, we can see that little hole there, right? So here's the cylinder. Right, here's the cylinder, little pistons moving up and down inside there. That little hole right there, you can just see it there just near the fins. This is where the injector's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe I can even give you action cam here. I don't know if it can handle being this close, but we're gonna make it. Oh, look at that! The level of professionalism so high. Let's move that out of the way. And then I'll just go ahead and move the thing in a little bit. Alright, I know you can't see it right now. I just need to put the torch down. Yeah, so that's where the hole is, and the injector, which you can kind of see here. Sorry, we're just starting to run out of light. Is it just sits in here. And you'll see why we need the anti-bug device in a second. That is indeed my hand. Is then if we have a look from the front, there she is right there. That's the injector there. So you can see why we need the anti-bug device, right? Is that this injector is, if we look from the front of the engine, that's right in the intake. So all this blast air is coming in the front here. And imagine if a bird or bug or something like that flew into the side of the engine here, it clogged up that that little intake, that little hole there. It would be in a bit of trouble. And of course, here is the fuel line. And the fuel line would just, I'll just show it to you so you can see it. There you go, there's the fuel line. Disconnected, obviously, but that's where the fuel line would attach. And that's on each of the cylinders. Each of the cylinders have got holes in them, right? So I'll go ahead and pop this bad boy out. And I'll go find a little container for it, and we'll find that little container and just dump them all. Sorry, I just stood on my cord. Yeah, I'll go find a container and I'll dump all these into some fuel and we'll let them soak overnight and then clean them up. Yeah, alright, I'll be right back and get some fuel and yeah, I'll be here soon. Alright, we're back. Definitely feels like she's getting colder now. Or maybe I've just stopped moving around as much, but starting to feel it a bit now. Alright, so just got myself a little container here, cleaned it all out. Let top slave split cover screw, I don't know, whatever. Now we're just going to steal some fuel here out of the aircraft. Nothing too crazy. And gasket is empty, so we'll take some out of the right-hand tank. Stealing fuel. I can confirm when I was an engineer, back when I was an apprentice engineer, when you're earning, $8 an hour, we would defuel planes a lot, and the only way I could afford to even be an engineer when I was a first-year apprentice was stealing fuel. It wasn't really stealing fuel, as when you get an aircraft in and you have to defuel it, the law in Australia is you have to be an authorized defueling station. If you're not an authorized defueling station, wherever you put the fuel in, it can never be used in an aircraft again. It has to just get whatevered. So we would use it in our tugs to tow aircraft around and stuff like that. And so if there was a little bit left over on a Friday night, hang back in the hangar and grab yourself some fuel and you're good for the next week. Otherwise, you didn't eat because you weren't earning any fucking money. You're getting $8 an hour trying to pay to buy tools. If you don't have tools, you can't work on an aeroplane. Can't work on an aeroplane, you have even less money. Blah, blah, blah. But when we defuel a plane, I mean, we're talking, we'd have 500-600 litres left over sitting in these drums around the hangar. And no matter what way you look at it, it's not smart having 500-600 litres of fuel sitting in a metal container in the back of your hangar, right? It's, I don't know. I don't know how we didn't blow ourselves up, but we didn't. He says we're getting fuel all over his hand. Alright, we got some leak action here from the aircraft, and now we'll just get some fuel in our face. Nothing fancy, drop these in. We'll leave them in overnight. Leave it in the oven at 300 degrees for 6 hours, and then when you come back, you'll have some fancy, nice and clean injectors. Well, not quite. You'll be able to, any of that soot and shit that was on the other side, when you wipe it off with a little rag, it will be super duper clean. So we'll go and put these down here, and we'll look at them later. I've got some spark plugs as well. I could really do the same with the spark plugs, but we actually have a spark plug cleaner. Well, we don't have one. We need to go get it from one of the guys that's on here at the airport, but I'm not worried. This engine's not going to run for another couple of weeks, so we'll be okay. Clean all that fuel off my hands so I don't explode myself. And, well, the only thing I think I've got left for today before I call it quits is actually cut open that oil filter, have an inspection there, make sure we don't have any larger problems, which we're not. And then questions, queries, comments, if you want to see anything else, there's a cub in the back corner. It's really, really hard for me to move around. Like, I don't want to show you the desk because there's tools and shit everywhere, but a great big roller cart here, but there's cameras attached to it, there's umbilical cords, there's Ethernet cords, there's everything. So it's really, really hard for me to just walk around the hangar and show you. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to see chat here for a second, so go ahead. What was that fuel line? J-Lu? Yeah, they were on top. Yeah, we inspected those. They're fine. Bear Grylls would do it. We'll be doing a pressure instrument check at some point. Mike, yeah, we'll actually. We actually have to do a a pedostatic correlation check. So whether I do it or we're going to be getting one of the avionics guys to come in. But back at my old place, back at Vintage Wings, I was I was actually the dude that was certified to do all of the correlation checks, so I can do it on this thing. But if you're trying to be funny, Mike, no, I'm not going to get down on my knees and give the pedo head a good solid blow. I'm not going to fall for that old ye olde trick. Am I going to stream a flight later? Yeah, I will probably do one flight tonight, John. I'll go ahead and do one flight, see what people thought of the stream today, and go from there. Yeah, I'll probably be a little bit tired when I get home, so I don't expect much. But yeah, I'll do one flight before I go. I gotta clean up here a little bit. There's cables and stuff everywhere, and tools everywhere, so I'll go ahead and do that. But are there any problem? No, the push rod tubes are all clean. I'm the only one that's really worked on this engine ever since it got put in, so I'm pretty aware of the push rod tubes, so I don't touch them. Ah, awesome mini webs. That's great, man. Get some photos of the aircraft or whatever. Let me know what you're flying. When you come back in a stream later tonight and let us know. No questions? No one has anything? Everyone just seems to be sitting there in stunned silence or just enjoying. Whatever. So I'm going to go cut open this filter and I'll bring it back. So just chill out, stare at the aeroplane, I guess, and I'll be up the back of the hangar. In fact, I'll just move the camera so you can see the back of the hammer, back of the hangar, back of the hammer camera, whatever. Fuck, I don't know. And we'll open up this filter and I'll bring it back and show you what it looks like. So enjoy the music. I'll be right back. Alright, I think it was the world's worst hacksaw. It was like using a fucking spoon to cut through metal. It wasn't very great, but anyway, we got there. I want to show you this. So this is what we do. It's nothing glamorous. It's nothing pretty. But this is all that's inside the oil filter here. Is just a paper filter here. It's probably good. I think it's up to like 5 microns or something like that. So it's picking up really, really good particulate. So the reason we do this is our only way of really knowing what the internal part of the engine's looking like here. So we cut it open, we cut down and we pull this paper out and we have a look through it. And there's a few ways you can do it. Some people put magnets over the thing, other people put other things over it. I just use my eyes. I mean, if it's when an engine's about to go, these things will just be full of metal, absolutely full. And so here we have a very, very happy engine where there's no little chunks of anything through all of the paper filter here. So you go through and you look at each little leaf. Sometimes you'll see bits of silicon in here, stuff like that. There's silicon inside the oil lines, or however the engine was put together. Sometimes silicon gets used as sealant. You look through here and find any of that, but I'm not seeing any of that. I'm seeing a very, very happy engine. Not even a drop of silicon, actually. Nothing. It's a really, really good looking. A little bit of. Yeah, you'll always find little bits of particulate here, which is just leftovers from the combustion cycle, but nothing really here to note or worry about. So you have a very, very happy engine here. The oil that's coming out of the filter's happy, and it's not having to filter out any gunk or anything like that. But so the filter did its job, and it now goes in the bin, and we got a happy, happy, happy little engine. So great big fucking mess as well. So there is that as well. We'll deal with that as we see fit. So I'll just put these cameras up here, get rid of these gloves, and I got a little bit of a leak in one of my fingers here, so I'll just go make sure I don't get any oil in it, and I'll come back and we'll sign off, and I'm going to get out of here before I freeze. It's already dark outside, so windows out. So try and get out of here, have some food, and talk to you soon. All right, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. There we go. So yeah, there we go. That'll probably do us for today. I think how are we trooping along? Guess you guys have seen a little bit here, but I can see chat. SciTech, this has been 3 hours plus an hour in the aircraft, so about four and a bit hours in total. So I've been out here for about 9 hours now. I spent 4 hours getting the aircraft ready this morning, so we've been here a while. R3D Invader, yeah, we ran the engine live on stream at the start. I enjoy. No, I'm just running off a laptop here, so I've got all my webcams here. That reminds me, if I am going to stream tonight, I better take that webcam home. But yeah, no, just my laptop. But it's just a little bit of a temporary thing. It is burger time. I'm starving, absolutely starving. I think a burger's got my name all over it. all over it. Yeah, so I think we had a pretty successful day. I mean, the engine's happy. It's just got some leaks. So the mags are fine. I don't even really want to touch the mag. I don't even want to pull it out or adjust the timing. I don't even want to touch it. So it's only minor gripes on the engine thing. I mean, I've still got the gascolator to pull out, but it's brand new. There's not going to be any problems there. It's there's nothing really here to write home about or be concerned about. So I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to be okay with everything. Get out, go home. Yeah, I want to clean all this stuff up though. I got shit lying around everywhere. There's blankets on the floor. There's cables everywhere. I got tools lying around all over the desk, and I think the owner might come out tomorrow or Sunday, and I don't want to see him seeing the hangar trashed. So. Some oil on the ground here as well, as I had to move the bucket. So yeah, there's a few bits and pieces here I want to do before I get home. So I'll probably spend another hour here cleaning up, I think. Maybe. So yeah, you guys watching, I'll probably pick up, I'll go some dirty takeout on the way home, pick up a Henry's burger or two, and stuff them into my face. Free the proles. The Prolu? I don't even know what that is, Malachite Kel. Pro-less or something? I don't even know. I don't even know. Anyway, yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the engine other than those minor gripes. I'm really not... There's nothing here to really write home about that's wrong with the thing. I mean, you wouldn't expect it. It's a low-time engine. It's just such a shame that these gaskets are leaking. It's such a shame. Yeah. It's the smallest amount of surgery to do anyway, is just these sump, and I mean it's pretty typical. 172s need a sump change, typically once or twice in its life, and it's just ugh. It's messy, and everything has to come off, and blah 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 blah. I've got to make good content for you guys, but it's gonna be fucking painful for me. Yeah. Oh, everything looks okay. The alternator doesn't need tightening. Like, there's nothing really here. I've got to do the AD on the exhaust, of course. But oh, pretty happy with the aeroplane. She's doing well. She is doing well. So yeah. Mad noob. Yeah, we're just Mad. They just left. Proles equal plebs, sort of. Oh, I get it. Free the plebs. Yeah. So for those of you guys that are just tuning in, there was an hour before this stream we were actually in the aircraft doing engine runs, and I was like screaming into the microphone because I thought I had to talk over the top of the engine noise, but apparently the microphone was figuring things out fine. But I was like actively yelling. It was pretty funny. So yeah, if you do watch the other stream while we're doing the engine run, turn the volume down and go there. Yeah. I'll when I get home, I'll probably do a little bit of a stream, just to catch up. What's the time? It's 5:30. It's not going to be. It's going to be a little bit of traffic, I guess. By the time I get a burger and blah 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 blah. Alpha Charlie 9, I am indeed. Yes, we've just been playing with the engine today. I'm free. Hashtag pleb. Yeah, so I think we've had not a bad day. It's been backbreaking, without a doubt, but. Fuck, that looks like it's fallen off as well. That'd be right. Right, any other questions before I go, guys? Before I sign off and let you guys go about the rest of your evening and go from there. Not quite a super cub, it's just a cub in the back there, evil turnip. Just a regular old little cub. It's not a J3. It's I don't actually know what you'd call it. It's got a different engine, but I like them. Yeah, it's cool, the structure here. It's you'd really like it actually because the undercarriage actually the undercarriage goes right into the engine mount, so really strong area. Yeah, it's a Lycoming. It's technically a It's got like coating on the rocker covers here, but technically it's a Titan engine, or Matatuck Titan. It's TMX. TMX turned into Titan. Titan, Matatuck turned into TMX. TMX, whatever it is. I don't know. It's technically... where's the mouse strap hanger? Evil Turnip, yeah, it's an experimental aircraft, home-built aircraft. Yeah, correct. Hi, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Cameron. I'm glad everyone else enjoyed it. So give me some feedback when I get back online when I get home. Oh, I've got my flashing light on in my jacket here. Yeah, give me some feedback when I get back home. Let's stop and go at Carp. Oh, nice, Corvin. I'm at not quite at Carp. This is Smith Falls. If you had time, Corvin, you should swing past here at Smith Falls and come out and say hello. That's if you're able to stop, come into the ramp or whatnot. But if you're out this way, Corvin, and you can twist the arm of your instructor, I'll be here tomorrow working on the plane. But this is Smith Falls. I think there's an NDB and a GPS approach into here, but I don't know what you're flying. If you have time to shut it down and come for a walk, but. Yeah, neither have I, Evil Trump. I think some people have done some stuff, but I thought it'd be interesting to do. Wants to come with a lesson. There goes my wallet. Unlucky Grouch. There it goes. Ah, cool, Evil Turnip. Yeah, I actually live streamed the engine run, so I don't know if that's don't call me Trump. It's Evil Turnip. Sorry. G1000 going to save. Yeah, if you have time, Corvin, I don't know how you'd get hold of me. I'll whisper you my cell number, Corvin, and if you're going to make it out here, just give me a yell. Just send me a text or something. I'm just down in the hangars. I'll be here all day, so I don't really care what time you get in. But if you are going to come in, just give us a yell if you want to catch up, say hello, see the airplane, whatever. I'll hold up the stream to give you a solid handshake and a hello. Yeah, see if you can. We're only... Carp is further away than Smith Falls, but I don't know if you're trying to achieve anything training-wise at Carp. But if you have time, give us a yell. If you don't, I'll send you a whisper here now with my cell number, so you can send me a message if you want. Next stream, I'm probably going to get home and just do a quick little hour and a half stream. I'll even set a timer for it so I don't go too long. But I'll just do a little stream, a bit of a debrief, see what you guys think, and jump in a jet, turn it on autopilot and let it do its thing, and go from there. And I'm going to go to fucking bed so I can get out here again. Well, it looks like it from here, Evil Turnip, because I've got the laptops about 1.5 meters away, so it just looks like T. I can see a T, a U, an M, and a P, and it's like, well, and the U looks a hell of a lot like an R if you take away the other half of the U, so that's why it looks like it. Yeah, I'll be out here again tomorrow, John. I'll be out here tomorrow. More work to be done, more panels to be removed, and we'll figure out what we need to do with this engine. These spark plugs have got to come out. Screw on an oil filter, let the thing just leak all over the floor tonight. Got to do a prop hub inspection, a prop spinner backplate inspection. What else have we got to do here? Have a look over the firewall, have a look over the skin there, just to really finish all this up, and then it's onto the airframe. I might even pull the wheels. I'll see how I go tomorrow. I don't think I'll be able to get onto the wheels. I think I'll probably just be pulling more panels, but... it's an hour. It's an hour from home. Yeah, so yeah, so it's an hour drive from here to get home as well, so put that in perspective. So even if I leave right now, I'm not going to get home until 6:45 thereabouts. So yeah, all right. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed looking at Aeroplane and doing engine runs on Aeroplane. And I'll probably do a little stream when I get home, have some food, and have a chat with you guys. And I'm going to pass the hell out and go from there. So we'll see you guys soon. See you guys soon. That's all I got. Have a good one. Take care. Look after yourselves. Anything I wouldn't do. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace.